Welcome to UNPAVED, where I share my passion for adventure travel.
It's invigorating.
Extreme sports.
So much fun. This is freaking scary.
Even some electronic music at incredible places. In this video, I'll show you how I prepared for the ultimate challenge, the Whistler Bike Park. Known for its jumps, huge slabs, and massive drops. All right, guys, I'm up here at Moose Mountain, and I want to prepare for the Whistler Bike Park. And I actually was lucky enough to find a local pro here, Logan Keen, and he's been to Whistler ever since he was 14 years old. He's raced enduro, he's a teacher, and so he would be a great person for you guys and me to kind of learn about what it's gonna take to prepare for the Whistler Bike Park.
First off, we're gonna be doing our braking. Braking is really important for getting to those jumps and after them, where we have to stop, slow down, check our speed, and just all around be safe on a bike park like Whistler, where it's really busy. We're gonna be doing our cornering, and so cornering is really gonna be key for hitting our big jumps, because we gotta get to those jumps. And then our third part is gonna be our jumping, and jumping is gonna kind of link at all three of those together for everybody to hit all trails, like Crank It Up all the way up to Dirt Merchant. And getting these three skills should ensue a much better bike park experience for Kevin and anybody. Let's go ride.
After a little warm-up lap, we covered one of the most important skills, braking.
First thing we're gonna cover is kind of basic, but it's really important to stepping into our cornering and our jumping. For big rough days in the bike park, we tend to get a lot of arm pump and really sore arms after a couple laps. So if we're using 2 fingers on our brakes, you can see that my brakes aren't even set up to attempt to brake with 2 fingers, but we actually get a lot more strain in our wrist and our hand from putting 2 fingers on our brakes. So we want to avoid that and just use 1. And you can see I can grab these nice big powerful disc brakes super well with just 1 finger. Cutting into the second thing is when we're gonna be using our brakes. Our rear brake does not really slow us down. Our rear brake is just gonna kind of be for trailing speed or maintaining speed. So if we're heading down something with a bit more grade and we're going at a speed that we're comfortable at but don't want to speed up too much more, we're gonna try and feather a bit of rear brake. Where if we want to slow down really hard, the front brake really grabs and bites hard, and that is the brake that's gonna stop us. When we're getting to a really hard stop or an emergency stop, we want to drop our body and we want to get into the low attack position. So getting our chin as low to that stem as possible. We're gonna be hinging at the hips, so not dropping down into a squat, but hinging at our hips and bending forward, so our legs still have that travel and suspension when we're going down something rougher. The analogy I like to use is a monster truck versus like a Lamborghini. Have you ever seen a monster truck slam on its brakes? They flip over most of the time. Where a sports car, they don't have much body roll or anything because they're so low to the ground. That's what we want to be like when we're doing a big hard stop. He's standing up, and he dropped into that low position, dropping the hip, keeping his back flat, and dropping those heels.
And that is one thing that is extremely important with any kind of riding, because it gives you a lot of control. 1 finger braking, being able to stop on a dime, and also when you see those really technical chutes and technical features, believe it or not, they're easier than they look a lot of the time, depending on how long it goes. If it's something that's, you know, like a huge chute that's 1,000 feet, that's different. But if it's a small feature where it's super steep, just as long as you get low, drive your weight, and you're controlled, you can go over things that you wouldn't think you'd be able to do.
So to recap, use only 1 finger to brake. Your front brake is your stopping power. Back brake for control.
Corners are gonna be different wherever we're gonna be riding. Sometimes we're gonna have really big banked, almost concrete corners like in the Whistler Bike Park, or we're gonna have ones like at Moose Mountain where they're a little drier, a little looser. Sometimes the bank isn't as steep all the way around. For these corners, We're gonna wanna come in not super hot because they are a little dusty. We have a bit of slough around them. We wanna be slightly bent at the knees. We wanna have our knees pointing out, just in our nice neutral ready position. But when we're in that corner, everything is gonna kind of shift a bit. Our knees are gonna poke towards to where we're turning. Our head is gonna look to where we're turning, and our butt is gonna go to the outside. So that's gonna keep us stable if we have to lean the bike and the corner isn't as steep. On these corners, we're not gonna be doing that to a huge extent and leaning the bike over and poking our butt over a bunch, but we still need to do it, and it's so important to stay balanced on the bike. When we're approaching the corner, we should be kind of heading towards the apex, and as we're walking through that corner, we're gonna be looking further and further out until we're in the corner and we're looking at the exit and coming out of the corner and we're looking at our next corner. And that just sets us up and helps build that flow through the corners. Getting low on the bike, we're nice and tall. We're gonna get a little lower, pointing through the corner, looking through, pointing with our knees, and poking those hips.
Something like this, you're literally looking 180.
Yep.
And that's a weird feeling,
Yeah,
right? Because you're used to thinking like, when I feel like when I started out, and a lot of people when they're mountain biking start out, they're looking in front of their tire.
Yep.
They're in a defensive position. Mountain biking is an offensive sport. You need to be in a ready attack position and you're not in the defense. And so when you're looking at your front tire, you're kind of in that defensive, like what's next? But offensive is looking, 10, 15, 30 feet in front of you on the trail going, what's next? That's that aggressive move.
Exactly.
Well, I wasn't applying that to turning. I was applying 10 feet, which is still on something like this, you're still in the turn. So I noticed that even just your momentum picks up more by looking in that direction.
Exactly. So with just looking further ahead, you can just be a little more confident with your turn. And like you said, the speed just starts to pick up there. The confidence really builds with knowing where you're gonna go and where your tires are gonna be. So the one thing that I would nitpick about your cornering, Kevin, was where your pedals are. Especially in a bermed corner like this, there's no need to drop our pedals. The pedal dropping probably picked up when you were riding in the 90s back then and you didn't have a dropper post. Nowadays, we have our droppers.
How old does this kid think I am?
We don't really need to do that dance back when we didn't have dropper posts, like I was saying. Keeping the pedals flat is gonna allow our knees to poke a little more, and that opens up your whole body for when we're not riding a bermed corner, we're riding a flat corner. We need to lean our bike down a lot more, and especially when our pedals are flat, we can push that bike down a lot further while keeping our knees poked over and weighting ourselves properly over the bike, keeping ourselves balanced. Like I said, finding the flow and confidence that comes with that. We're down here, third dropper post. We do not need to be in that position. Just keeping our bike flat. We can stay a little higher on our bike. Still drop the pedals. Yeah. So it's a hard one to not ingrain in your mind, hey? Exactly. Keep them flat. Oh yeah.
There, that was it.
Yeah.
A buddy of mine taught me that. It gave me confidence to corner, but you can always improve and learn new skills, I'm feeling a lot better now. Looking where I'm going, way more dramatic than where I was. I was kind of just like looking in front of me into the corner, not looking out of the corner. So that's huge. So all those little things are really gonna help you solidify your turning, right? That's the idea. Remember to brake before a corner to regulate your speed. Bend knees, elbows out, enter the corner high, look at the exit all the way until out of the corner. Keep feet on the pedals neutral. Don't do what I did. So me and Logan right now are on some pretty small jumps, and we picked these jumps because these are very indicative of what you can find pretty much anywhere in like a local bike park. There's usually jumps like this, and this is great for anyone at any level to kind of progress because they're very forgiving. If I nail it on this, I can keep progressing and get bigger and bigger, and that's the idea. By the time I make it to Whistler, that I'm ready for, you know, jump lines such as A-line.
Going into our jumping, we want to be in a nice, tall, neutral position. So that's our knees almost at a lock, hands nice and tall, and we should be light on the hands, weighted on the feet, so that when we do our press into our jump, we are pushing through the bike through our feet, but because we're weighted nice and evenly on our bike through our neutral position, we push down the front and back suspension. Like I said though, we're only pushing down through our feet. If I could, we could push down standing, riding with no hands, and that would push down the front and back evenly, and it should. Approaching our jump, we're gonna press into our bike. We're also gonna load our legs because our legs are a big part of our suspension system on our bike. When we load our bike and our legs, we're gonna press everything together and time it so that everything, our suspension and our body, is at its fully upright position by the time we leave the end of our jump. Riding into the jump, nice and neutral, pushing through our feet, light on the hands. When we get to the jump and we've pressed, we should be riding nice and tall. In the air, we should be fully extended, body all the way tall. Nice and tall, and our press. Nice and tall, and our press.
So I'm gonna come up to the jump, and right when I get here, I'm pressing with my body into the center of the bike because I'm neutral. I'm not too far back, I'm not too forward. I'm not pressing with the bars.
Nope.
I'm pressing all with my body, my legs.
And your feet, yeah.
And my feet.
The only thing is that I don't know where your timing's gonna be. So it might be right where you think it is right here. Might be a little further back, it might be a little further forward even.
Okay.
The timing is the thing that is really the tricky part. That's where we need to start playing around. Because the timing on my bike and me riding it versus you riding my bike or me riding your bike or you riding your bike, any combination, it's always gonna be different.
Okay.
And whichever jump we're on too. The jumps are all gonna be different because our lips are all gonna be different sizes as well.
Spider on my leg.
Bugs in Alberta are just no joke, eh?
Hey.
Exactly.
And this is why this isn't something you're just going to watch a YouTube video.
You're gonna have to figure it out. And
immediately. You got to go practice. You got to put the hours in.
And figure out where your timing is for your bike and the jumps that you're riding.
And get your own flow. Then when I'm in the air, then what do you do?
Then we're gonna make sure we're standing up nice and tall so that we can absorb that landing. And the same thing with the cornering. We're gonna be looking far down because we're gonna be looking where we're landing, what jump we're gonna be heading into next, or whatever features heading up next. If we need to get on the brakes really hard, could be any number of things. So looking ahead and being in that tall position in the air so we can absorb that landing.
When you're up in the air, you're not looking at your landing. You're looking at the next jump.
You can look as far down as you can, pretty much.
Really?
Right? Yeah. Anytime you can see all the way down the trail, you should be looking down there.
Okay.
So our timing is very important, as Kevin is wondering. Timing comes with speed though. So if we're going very fast into our jump, our timing window becomes very small, and the amount of pressing that we need to do also is not very much. But if we're going really, really slow into a jump, we're gonna need to press really hard because that timing window is really big and we don't have the speed to compensate for the press. The height of your body could be increased more. So when you're in the air and coming off that takeoff, stand up more. Your arms should be almost locked, your legs should almost be locked.
Really?
Yes, that height is like what's getting us ready for the landing. Because if we're compressed already in the air, we don't have anywhere to go when we land.
Oh, right.
Right? So our body, we're fully relying on the suspension then. And that can lead to a crash because if we're fully compressed in and we hit a landing extremely hard, we have nothing else to give. You're still a little back, yeah. Weight yourself to be a little more over your bars. If all of our weight is over the front wheel, yes. But also that can be dangerous if all of our weight is over the back wheel. We need to have both wheels weighted evenly, right? So if we're going down something steep and we're only weighting the rear wheel,
Yeah.
we have no turning and we have no braking power. Or if we're hitting jumps, we're gonna get a little squirrely in the air sometimes. So a general rule, try and keep your chin above your steer tube, kind of stem area.
So here.
Yeah, like you don't want to be going in front of this line.
Okay, a wall.
But you kind of don't want to be going too far back either. Like our chin should stay generally above this area. And that should keep us weighted between both wheels.
Okay.
So I think you got to work on where your body position is and get a little more confident being over that front wheel a little harder. And that will translate into your cornering as well, because a lot of our grip comes from our front wheel and our corner. Our rear wheel is just kind of there to follow us, right? In Whistler, you're gonna get 1,000 of these in one run. So you're gonna be able to hone in so well and really play around with that timing. And it's just gonna come with practice, really. Like, you probably haven't practiced sitting around and jumping for a long time, hey?
No.
Or ever even, hey? So it just comes with practice. It's a lot of practice and you have the fundamental skills there. So it's just building off of them, really.
Okay, so to sort of recap, Logan, is you need to be, one, relaxed on your bike. You need to press down through your feet. And depending on whether the jump is really big or small, how much you press down. If it's smaller, you might press down a little bit more to get some pop. But if you're on a big jump, you don't need to do that as much. Once you stand up through the jump, you want to be neutral and you want to make sure you don't go past this invisible wall of your stem, basically.
Yeah.
Right? And as you're in the air, you want to be looking at the next jump and your landing.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. I think these are really good fundamentals and mechanics that anybody can pull from to be able to work on their skills, to build them up, to be able to do a bike park such as Whistler.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember, start with small jumps and build your way up. Be nice and relaxed, tall and neutral on the bike. Only push down through your feet and not your hands. In the air, extend the legs, look as far down the trail as you can, absorb the landing with your legs, and remember, timing is key. I really hope this knowledge helps you on your quest. How did I end up doing? Well, you'll just have to wait and see, as this is only the beginning of my adventure. Subscribe to the channel for more unpaved content.
Dude, so sick.
Where we're going, there is no trail.